My name is Varinder, and I am going to discuss about the many management occupations and education and PR related pathways. So I work as an education counselor at Aussizz College Street office. And after finishing my presentation, Neha will be discuss about the PR pathways of management courses. So first of all, we will discuss about education and we will discuss about the qualification, what you need to study if you want to go in this particular field. So after finishing, Neha will take care of migration pathways. She will discuss about the occupation after completion of your courses, and she will discuss the skills assessment criteria and the PR pathways for different states. So first of all, I will discuss why study management. So why someone should study management courses. So what are the benefits? So the studying management will provide you with the tools and skills needed to land leadership positions. So if you want to work at higher positions, so most of the leadership positions are related to management study. So you can head up your own company, you can be a business owner because most of you will learn most of the aspects of business in your management degree. So you will learn how to manage the teams, individuals, and organizations, and you will get the foundation knowledge in business, finance, economics, and marketing. And there are bright future pathways after completion of the management courses and the positions. So the career outcomes, whatever the position you will get after completion of your management degree is highly rewarding. So most of the business managers, they are making an average salary of 103,000 according to the SEEK job history. So the general entry requirements. So first of all, I will discuss about the diploma level courses. So the general entry requirement for most management level courses are completion of an Australian senior secondary certificate or equivalent. The English requirements, actually they varies. It depends on the university or college to fix their own English requirements, but I'm just talking about the general requirements here. So the overall 5.5 bands with no band less than 5, and student must be of 18 years age. For the advanced diploma, minimum completion of diploma level course or equivalent, and the English requirements are 5.5 overall bands with no band less than 5. So bachelor and master level courses. For bachelor and master level courses, the requirement depends in which field you want to go. So I'm talking about the general requirements here. So the completion of year 12 or equivalent for the bachelor level courses. The minimum English requirement is overall 6 bands with no band less than 5.5, and student must be of 18 years age. And for the master level courses, completion of an Australian bachelor degree or equivalent, and English requirements are overall 6.5 bands with no bands less than 6. So this is just every like general requirement. So it is not considered by every university or college for the master level courses. And now I will discuss about the popular courses. So in the popular courses, we can say in terms of hotel management, so Bachelor of Hospitality Management, Masters of International Hotel Management, Masters of Tourism Hospitality and Event Management. So after completion of course, the career outcome will be hospitality manager, and most of the universities are providing scholarship in this course, and the course fee is in between $24,000 to $32,000. You can find this course in Torrance University, Southern Cross University, and the Hotel School. And this is the graph stating the average annual salary for jobs for hotel management graduates in Australia. You can find the hotel manager, they are earning, this is just an average salary. It is 65,000 and $4. It is in dollars, and for the event manager, it is 129,996 per year. For the chef, it is 84,996, and catering manager is around 65,000, and accommodation manager is the highest one, which is 165,000, and for the sales manager, 101,664, and for duty manager, it is 61,152. So this is just an average annual salary for um, different occupations. So here I will discuss about another course which is very famous among international students, supply chain management. So you need to study Bachelor of Business, Logistics and Supply Chain Management, or you can study at master's level, Masters of Logistics and Supply Chain Management. These two courses, if you want to become supply, demand and distribution planner, you need to study this course, transport, warehouse, logistics or supply chain manager, procurement, supply chain or logistic analyst. So if you want to become uh, if you want to work as these occupations, you need to study Bachelor of Business or Masters of Logistic and Supply Chain Management course. The course fee is in between $30,000 to $40,000, and the average salary of supply chain managers in Australia range from an average of $102,000 to $150,000. So next, I will discuss about construction management. So you need to study Bachelor of Building and Construction Management, Masters of Engineering Practice, Masters of Construction Management, or Masters of Construction Management. So if you want to become a construction manager. So as I discussed previously, I just discussed about the master entry requirements, which were just the general requirements. So here, if you want to study Masters of Construction Management, you need to meet the different entry criteria. So it is not just like another management degrees where any sort of bachelor degree will be eligible. But for the construction management, the eligibility criteria is a bit different. They most of the universities, they ask for the relevant background. So I have discussed about the general requirements here. So a recognized bachelor degree, which should be at AQF level 7 or 8 in one of the following allied fields. So engineering, civil or construction, building, architecture, quantity surveying, construction management, and other related engineering technology disciplines assessed to be appropriate or successful completion of the graduate certificate of construction management. So after completion of this course, you can become a quantity surveyor, project manager, or construction consultant. You can work in different construction companies. So here is the employment outlook or weekly earning for the construction managers. You can say the weekly earning is in between $1,595 to $2,800. So the construction managers are earning pretty much very good salary. And after that, here I will discuss about the sports management course. So in sports management, there are very few universities providing few courses. There is Bachelor of Sports Management, which is provided by University of Canberra, Masters of Business Administration, Sports Management Advanced, which is provided by Torrens University. So even in this sort of degrees, you will get some sort of overseas qualification as well, where your training will be held overseas, which is specially provided by Torrens University. You need to go overseas to complete your training program, which is for 45 days. They will take you overseas and finish your sports training overseas. So it will add an extra exposure to your degree. So the career pathways after completion of these courses will be a competition manager, game development officer, schools and community engagement, team management, commercial manager, and sponsorship manager. The average salary of sports managers is in between $80,000 to $120,000. So finally, the human resource management, which is also very popular among international students. So you need to study Bachelor of Commerce, Business, Human Resource Management, or Masters of Human Resource Management courses. And the career pathways after completion are Human Resource Manager, Recruitment Consultant, Workplace Relation Advisor, and Human Resource Advisor. So the course fee is in between $24,000 to $36,000 annually, and the courses are provided by University of Technology Sydney, La Trobe, University of Wollongong, Australia, and the University of Newcastle. And they are running different scholarships. It depends on your GPA, whatever the GPA scores you have achieved in your bachelor's. So you can apply on the basis of that, and even La Trobe University, they are offering up to 30% scholarship. So the annual fees after scholarship will be very low. You can leave your questions in the chat box and I will help you out if you have any questions in terms of scholarship or eligibility criteria. So the employment outlook and weekly earnings for HR managers. So it is average $1,460, and it is in between 1,460 to $2,464. So information system management. So this the career path for the information system management is very attractive. So many students, they come to us and they want to study an IT degree, but they are not very keen in programming. So if you don't want to do programming, you can still go in an IT field. There are few universities, they are providing very basic level of programming. So I can't say that it will be a programming free qualification. You need to study, but it will be I can say the very basic level. So you can study Masters of Information System in Information Management System. There are universities providing bachelors in the same field, Bachelors of Information System and Management. So you can complete these two courses. They are mostly on the basis of business as well. So business and management courses. There will be few subjects related to programming. So around one or two subjects, not more than that. So if you want to study IT degree, but don't want to go in depth in programming subjects, you can study this course, and the career path after completion will be IT manager, program manager, or business process analyst. So the course fee will be in between $28,000 to $34,000 annually. So this is the job employment outlook, you can say. So the next is innovation and entrepreneurship management. So you need to study master's degree in this field, and the career pathways are research and development manager, business consultant, and business manager. So the course fee is very high for this course because the demand is also very high. So the course fee is in between $40,000 to $44,000 annually. You can see the employment outlook, which is for research and development managers. And at last, I will discuss about the scholarships. So as I discussed previously, when I was discussing about the courses, the scholarship for the master's totally depends on your bachelor's GPA. So most of the universities, they are providing up to 30% scholarship. You can apply on the basis of your bachelor's GPA or your IELTS or English, any sort of English test band scores. So it depends what is your GPA, and on the basis of that, you will get scholarship. And for the bachelor level courses, it is on the basis of your year 12 GPA or whatever the diploma you have studied from overseas or from Australia, the prior qualification from your bachelor's. So here I'm just discussing about the general scholarship, where Southern Coast University is providing scholarship in between $5,000 to $15,000 per year, and Kaplan Business School, they are providing up to 30% scholarship. Same, Torrance University is providing up to 30%, and CSU same. And La Trobe University is also providing 30% scholarships. So here I will wrap up about the education part, and we have the attractive giveaways for you. So you can tag your friends on the Aussizz group page, and you can use our hashtag Aussizz Group Conclave 2022 to win these exciting offers. So you can win the free 2 months PT online coaching class, free CCL online coaching class, or free 485 visa consultation, PR consultation, and you can get up to 50% scholarships if you are meeting the eligibility criteria for any particular course in the universities. So thank you. I will check if we have any questions in terms of education. So Divyanshu, I got a question. Will you cover supply chain management and MBA degree in supply chain in this session? Yes, Divyanshu, I have covered that part where I have provided about the course name and the career outcomes and the fees of the course as well. So I have discussed it in presentation. And yes, the PR pathway will be covered by Neha Singh.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. Now you can continue because most of the questions are related to migration. And there was just one about the supply chain management for Divyanshu. Divyanshu, here is the information: Bachelor of Business Logistic and Supply Chain Management and Masters of Logistic and Supply Chain Management. And the course fee is $30,000 to $40,000 per year. And now Neha will discuss about the PR pathways. Yes, Neha, you can continue.
Thank you, Verinder. Thank you very much. All good. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Neha Singh. I'm a registered migration agent with Aussizz. So today, as Verinder has given her insight on all the management courses which are available for people to pursue their management career PR in Australia as for PR purpose. So today, before I start, I would like to say that yes, management is one of the backbone for an organization. Okay, if you have a very strong management, then there is, success rate of the company or of the organization is very high. So yes, management occupations are not for everyone. They need some qualification, they need some skills. Okay, and to acquire those skills you need to experience also. So I'll be discussing the PR pathway for all the for few of the management occupations which are available for PR in Australia for different states. So just hold for a minute before we start. Let me share my screen with you. So yes, few of the management occupations which Virendra has told, the courses which are available. I'll be discussing some of the occupations which are available. First is the management consultant, construction project manager, supply distribution manager, sports center manager, human resource manager, sales and marketing manager, hotel and motel manager, accommodation and hospitality manager, cafe and restaurant manager, and facility manager. So first, I'll be discussing what are the roles these managers perform in the organization, what are the requirements for their skill assessment, and then we will be discussing the PR pathway for all these occupations in different states so that you can achieve your targets. So first is management consultant. So first of all, management consultant is a person who assists the organization to achieve greater efficiency and solve the organization problems. So as the name suggests, management consultant is a person who has to work at a very higher position. He would be assisting the organization in dealing with different organizational problems and to increase the efficiency of the organization. So here, as Verinder has told, minimum qualification for a management consultant would be a bachelor's degree or a higher degree. So if you are having a bachelor or a higher degree, which is highly relevant to your occupation, then you need to have 1 year of experience as a management consultant, which can be offshore, can be onshore, but that experience should be highly relevant to your nominated occupation. And you need to have 12 months of experience, which can be minimum of 20 hours per week. And this experience of 12 months should have been undertaken in the last 5 years. Now sometimes what happens, you do have a managerial degree with you, but it is not highly relevant to your occupation. In that case, what happens is, if your bachelor's or master which is not highly relevant to your nominated occupation, you need to have at least 3 years of post qualification experience into your as a management consultant to get your skills assessed from VETSS and so that you can proceed for your management, PR pathway in Australia. One thing we have to keep in mind when we are going for the skill assessment, the highly relevant field of study is one which includes business management and organization management for a management consultant. Here, when we are going for the skill assessment as a management consultant, um, the applicant has to provide organization charts and the details of consultancy he's engaged in the organization with different clients or with different projects or over which he's looking into as a consultant. So they have to they have to give all the details of their engagements in the consultancy and the organization chart for the skill assessment. Now, there the other occupations which are into the same family as management consultant are organization and methods analyst. So this management consultant, it is a skill level 1 occupation, and it is also available. It is available in the MLTSSL list for the PR pathway, and it is assessed by VETSS. So next, we will be discussing the occupation, which is construction and project manager. As Verinder has told, there are different courses available for this occupation. So you need to have a bachelor's or a master's, highly relevant to your nominated occupation. You have to study a master's or bachelor, which is highly relevant to your occupation. Okay, now coming to the duties which a construction project manager has to perform, which includes planning, organizing, directs and control and coordinates the construction of civil engineering and building projects and the physical and human resources which are involved into the construction project process. So these are a few of the tasks which a construction project manager has to perform. A highly relevant master's or a bachelor's with 1 year of post qualification experience would give them a positive VETSS to get to apply for their PR pathways. Highly relevant field of studies would include construction project management, building technologies or science, civil engineering, if it's a civil project. In some cases, VETSS might consider, studies which include architectural on case by case basis. If you have studied masters in project management which do not include any concentration on built environment or construction, that kind of degree would not lead you for a positive VETSS. So you have to keep in mind that the whatever studies you are taking up, they should focus on construction project management, building technologies and civil engineering. So next, coming to the other occupation, which is supply and distribution manager. So supply and distribution manager is responsible for plans, organizing, directing, controlling, and coordinating the supply, storage, and distribution of goods produced by an organization. So these are the tasks which a supply and distribution manager has to perform. The alternative titles which we can give to the supply and distribution manager are logistic manager, supply chain manager. It is available in the short term list, and the assessing authority which assesses this occupation, supply and distribution manager, is IML, that is Institute for Managers and Leaders. So in this case, if you have a degree which is a bachelor's or higher and it is highly relevant to your occupation for supply and distribution manager, then you need to have at least 3 years of experience. That should be in the supply and distribution related roles, and out of these 3 years, 2 years you should have performed the roles of a supply and distribution manager for at least 2 out of those 3 years. If your occupation is not highly your studies, the bachelor's or master, which is not highly relevant, in that case, you have to you should have 5 years of experience into the role of supply and distribution related roles, and out of those 5 years, any 2 years you have to work. You should have a roles specific to a supply and distribution manager. This will give you a positive skill assessment with IML. One thing we have to keep in mind that the supply and distribution manager should have experience at a very strategic level. They should be involved in decision making authorities in supply and distribution matters of the organization, and they are responsible. Their responsibilities should include directing the employees' activity and monitoring their performance and development. So, a supply and distribution manager should have at least most senior functional position in the organization. They should be reporting to either a senior uh, leader or a team member or the head of the department of the organization, and should be supervising the employees. These are the duties which a supply and distribution manager should have. They are working at a very senior position in their organization. So, sometimes what happens, client come with the, requirement that what occupation we should be applying. We are not getting a job as a manager. The client have to keep in mind that they have to start with a lower level of job, which should include the roles and responsibilities of their nominated occupation, and slowly and gradually they can grow up, and they can go up to the position of a manager in an organization. So that's why people do not take managerial occupations. They think that they won't be able to pursue their PR pathway while they are in Australia, but that is not the case. But if they perform the roles and responsibilities in a manner which is required to get them a skill assessment from the concerned skill as authority, then they can definitely lead to their PR pathways. So next occupation which we will be discussing is the sports and center manager. So now the roles and responsibilities of a sport and center manager would be to organize, control, and promote the activities, facilities, and resources of a sport center. This occupation is not available in the MLTSSL or the short-term list, but it is available in the ROL list, regional list. But this occupation is assessed by VET-assess, in which you require an AQF diploma level or higher qualification that is relevant to your occupation, and you need a 1 year of post-qualification experience, which should be minimum 20 hours per week, undertaken in the last 5 years. If your qualification is not highly relevant to your studies, the diploma which you have taken up, in that case you need to have 2 years of post qualification experience, which is highly relevant to your nominated occupation, to apply to VET-assess. Now, one thing we have to keep here in mind, that the highly relevant field of studies for a sport and center manager would include sports management, recreation management, business management, facility and operation management. These are the special, target sector which they have to cover while they are studying these courses. And while they are going for the skill assessment through VET-assess, they have to give their organization charts, which includes company letterhead, job positions, and the job positions of superiors and the subordinate employees who are working under the sport and center manager. Next, we will be discussing the next occupation, which is HR manager, human resource manager. Here, the human resource manager um, includes the task of planning, organizing, directing, and controlling, coordinating the human resources and the workplace relationship activities within an organization. So, sometimes what happens is people are not able to find a job as a human resource manager why immediately after they complete their studies. So what they can do is they can take up the job as a human resource advisor. Once they build up that experience of 1 or 2 years while they are on their TR, they can go for human resource manager, get their skills assessed from IML, and then they can go for the PR pathway as a human resource manager. Here, if your studies, which is bachelor's or master's, is highly relevant, then you just need 2 years of experience out of the last 3 years to as a human resource manager to get your skills assessed from IML. The next occupation would be sales and marketing manager. This occupation is also assessed by IML. Here also the roles and responsibilities, the task of a sales and marketing manager includes planning, organizing, controlling and coordinating the sales and marketing activities within an organization. So the employment requirement requiring experience in a role of a sales and marketing manager must be the following, like they have to work at a very strategic level. They have to make they should be involved in the decision making authorities in supply and distribution matters of the organization, and they are responsible for directing the employees activity and monitoring their performance and development. A sales and marketing manager should be working at a very senior function. It is a very senior position in an organization. So they should be working at a very senior functional position, should be reporting to either a senior leader or a head of the department in their organization, and should be supervising their employees who are working under the sports center manager, sorry, sales and marketing manager. Next occupation in the list which we have mentioned is the hotel and motel manager. So the hotel and motel manager is the one who organizes and controls the operation of hotel or motel to provide guest accommodations, meals, and other services. A person who is looking into all the activities of a hotel or a motel, they are they can be given the roles of a hotel and motel manager, and if they have 1 year of experience post qualification after completing their diploma or higher qualification which is highly relevant to their occupation, they can apply for their skill assessment through VETSS to get their skill assessment and then proceed to their PR pathway. The next occupation which we will be discussing is accommodation and hospitality manager. So here also these hotel and motel and accommodation hospitality managers are those who manage all the accommodation and hospitality related responsibilities of an hotel or a motel. They should also have a diploma level qualification which is highly relevant to their nominated occupation, with plus 1 year of post qualification experience undertaken in the last 5 years. That experience should be minimum 20 hours per week to get a positive skill assessment. So the next occupation is cafe and restaurant manager. So the cafe and restaurant manager is a person who organizes and controls the operation of a cafe, restaurants, and related establishments to provide dining and catering services. It is available in the short-term list and it is assessed by VETSS. It also requires a diploma level or higher relevant to their nominated occupation, plus a 1 year of post-qualification experience, which is highly relevant to their nominated occupation to get their skills assessed as a cafe and restaurant manager. The last occupation, which is facility manager, is a person who is responsible for organizing, controlling and coordinating the strategic and operational management of buildings and facilities in a public or private organizations to ensure that the proper and efficient operation of all the physical aspects of an facility to create and sustain safe and productive environments for the occupants. So it can include person who is looking into any shopping center manager or something. That can be one the alternative name for the occupation. It is available in the short term list, and it can be assessed by VETSS, which requires a diploma or higher level of highly relevant occupation plus 1 year of post qualification experience highly relevant to the nominated occupation. This is how we have discussed the occupations. So next, I will come to the skill assessment path of the all these occupations. How the skill assessment work to give the skill assessment for these occupations. So the occupations like human resource manager, sales and marketing manager, supply and distribution managers would be assessed by IML. IML stands for Institute of Management and Leaders in in the assessing, it is an assessing an authority which assesses some of the management related occupations which are working at a very senior level in an organization. The other assessing authority is VET-Assess. It is responsible for the skill assessment of some of the occupations like management consultant, construction project manager, sports center manager, hotel and motel manager, cafe and restaurant and facility managers are assessed by VET-Assess. So we'll be discussing these authorities in detail, not exactly in detail, but yes, I'll give you an overview how these occupations work and how they are assessed by their respective assessing authorities. So VET-Assess is one of the authority that is responsible for skill assessment of most of the occupations, which can be management consultant, construction project manager, sports manager, hotel and motel manager, accommodation and hospitality manager, cafe restaurant manager, and facility manager. So now to get the skill assessment, VET-Assess requires a qualification assessed as comparable to the qualification level of an Australian qualification framework, which can be a bachelor or a higher. If the qualification is highly relevant to the nominated occupation, in that case, you need 1 year of post-qualification experience also, which should be minimum 20 hours per week undertaken in the last 12 months in the last 5 years, and these tasks performed should be highly relevant to your nominated occupation. Sometimes what happened, the qualification which you are holding a bachelor's or a master's, it's not highly relevant to your nominated occupation. In that case, what happens is, even though you are having a post qualification experience which is highly relevant to your nominated occupation, VET-Assess would require you to have um, at least 2 years of experience. So working minimum 20 hours undertaken in the last 5 years. So if you have 2 years of highly relevant experience as a, say as a management consultant or as a cafe restaurant manager, though your bachelor's or master's is not highly relevant, you can still go for your VET-Assess and get it positive from them. The next skill assessing authority is IML, which is Institute of Managers and Leaders. It would be responsible for few of the management occupations which are at very senior levels, like a HR, human resource manager, sales and marketing manager, supply and distribution managers. So IML would require a bachelor's or a master's degree, which is highly relevant to your nominated occupation. It also requires experience. So say if you're working as an HR manager or as a sales and marketing manager, you need to have at least 3 years of experience into the role of a sales and marketing manager. And along with that, you need to have 2 years out of those 3 years. You need to have 2 years of experience, which is highly relevant to your sales and marketing managers. So if in some cases, if you're not holding a bachelor's or master's degree which is not highly relevant to your nominated occupation, in that case you need to work into the related role for at least 5 years and into the role as a relevant manager, say as a sales and marketing manager, for at least 2 out of these 5 years, so that you can get a positive skill assessment from IML. IML would also require other documents like, your organization chart. They might require, reference letters from your clients, or they might require information about all the projects on whatever you are working into. So this is a little bit overview of the skill assessment which would be required for all these management occupations. Now what happens, sometimes you have two qualifications which lead to different skill assessments. So for example, you have experience, you have studies or a qualification into management, and you can go for different skill assessments. That we recommend our client that you should have get your skills assessed in different occupations, so that you have wider options for the PR and you should be eligible for different state nominations, which may lead you to PR in some state. So it's always advisable that you should have at least 2 or 3 occupations on hand so that you can, choose any out of them, which may lead you to PR. So now I'll be discussing, this was all about the skill assessment for these management related occupations. Now we'll be coming to the general skill migration visas, which are 189, 190 and 491 visas. So 189 visa is skilled independent visa. 190 is skilled nominated visa, and 491 can be a skilled regional provisional visa, or it can be a family sponsored regional provisional visa. So we'll be discussing what are the basic requirements to apply for these GSM visas. So if we talk about the point requirements, you need at least 65 points to be eligible for the skilled independent visa. For a state nominated visa, you need 60 points of yourself plus 5 points you'll get from the state for the state nomination. And if you are considering 491, in that case, you need to have 50 points of yourself plus 15 the state will give you for nominating you for that occupation. And for the family sponsorship, you need to have 50 points minimum for to be eligible to apply for these visas. 50 points of yourself and 15 you'll get from the relative, who can be your brother, sister, or your first cousins, who should be living in some regional areas. Now, coming to the skill assessment, if you are applying for any of these GSM visas, you need to have a positive skill assessment in your nominated occupation from the concerned authority. To be eligible for all these GSM visas, you need to have 6 each in your IELTS or equivalently in the PT, TOEFL, or OET exams to be eligible for these visas. Now, coming to the visas, 189 is a PR. It would be a PR once it is granted to you, you'll be a PR. 190 is also a permanent visa. 491 family and 491 regional state sponsorship, these are temporary visas which are granted to you for 5 years, and it will lead to PR visa, which is 191 visa. To be eligible for that visa, you need to live, work, and maintain that minimum threshold of 53,900 per annum income for 3 years to apply for 191 visas. So now, next I'll be discussing the occupation list. So there are occupation list like medium long-term list, medium long-term list, strategic skill list. The occupations which are available in the medium and long-term list, they can apply for many of the visa options. Many of the visa options are available for those occupations like management consultant. It is in the MLTSSL list. So you can apply for these temporary visas, which are subclass 491, 407, 482, 485 visas. You can, if you have studied for 2 years, some bachelor's or master's into management, and your nominated occupation is management consultant, then you can apply for all these temporary visas. 491 visa is a skilled regional provisional visa, or it can be a family sponsored one. So you need to meet the requirements of the state, or you need to have a family member who is a PR citizen and is living in some regional area of Australia to nominate you for that visa. 407 is a training visa. So it's basically a occupation training. It will be granted to you for maximum 2 years. In this, you need an employer who can nominate you for the training visa. You'll be working with that employer, and you'll be upskilling your occupation skills to get further experience into those occupations, so that that can be used for further PR options. The other options are 482 visa, which is temporary skilled shortage visa. It is a temporary employer sponsor visa. You need to have at least 2 years of experience full time in your nominated occupation, and some occupations would require skill assessment to apply for the 482 visa. Plus, you need an employer who is ready to sponsor you for the 482 visa. I'll explain you the whole process for the 482 visa later on. The next stage is 485 visa, temporary graduate visa. Now, department has introduced further changes to the 482 visa. If you have done your masters 2 years, any 2 years, minimum 92 weeks of studies in Australia, then you will be getting this 485 visa for 3 years. And if you have studied your masters from some regional area, you are eligible for the extended 485 visa. Further changes has been introduced by the department for the 482 visa, like people who were COVID impacted and they could not travel to Australia during the time period from 1st of February 2020 till 14th of December 2021. They will be eligible for the replacement, another replacement visa, 485 visa, which is now available from 1st of July 2022. So I'll be just touching this, highlights for all those visas. If you need some further information, you can just contact us. The permanent visas, which an occupation in the MLTSSL list can apply, is 189 visa, which is independent skilled visa. The department, here you have to make all the points yourself. There would not be any requirements to apply for 189 visa, but yes, the chances to be invited for 189 is not that high, but yes, for some occupations there is still hope to be invited for 189. 190 is a skilled nominated visa. Here you have to meet the requirements of the respective state and whatever the requirement for that occupation the state holds for. 186 is an employer sponsored visa. It is a permanent visa. Once it is granted to you, you need to have at least 3 years of full-time experience in your nominated occupation. Plus, you need an employer who is ready to sponsor you for that visa. If it's a direct entry, then definitely, because 186 has two streams, direct entry and TRT stream. If it is a direct entry stream, you need to have a positive skill assessment as well in your nominated occupation. For the TRT stream, you do not need any skill assessment. So this is all about the occupations which the MLTSSL list occupations can apply for visa, different visas. Next is short-term occupations. The occupations which are available on the short-term list, they are also eligible for the following temporary and permanent visas. If, say, for example, a sales and marketing manager, it falls into the short term list, so you can apply for 491 visa. You can apply for a training visa which is subclass 407. You can apply for employer sponsored visa 482 visa, which is a temporary skilled shortage visa, which will be granted to you for maximum 2 years, but you can reapply for that. You now, because the department has announced that there would not be any, you do not need to nominate any occupation for the 485 visa. If you have studied for 16 months in Australia, any 2 years of study in Australia, you can still apply for 485 visa, but it's just a temporary arrangement which will be available from 1st of July 2022 till 30th of June 2023. So if you are into that position, you have studied something for 2 years and you do not need to nominate any occupation, you can still apply for the 485 visa. And the permanent visas which are available for the occupation which fall into the short-term list are 190 and 186. That is also a temporary arrangement introduced by the department. If you hold a 482 visa and have worked for an employer for 3 years out of the 4 years on a 482 visa, and your occupation is in the short-term list, you can still apply for 186 TRT stream. If you need further information, you can just contact us, or just call Aussizz, or you can just call me at the end of the session. So next, I've just made a chart for the occupations available for different states. So as you can see, management consultant is in the medium and long-term list. So this occupation is available in these different states. Canberra, yes, it is available for this financial year. Victoria has not, do not have this occupation in their SOL list for their state. New South Wales do not have this occupation. Queensland do have this occupation in their list. Same is West Australia, South Australia, NT, and Tasmania do not have this occupation for their state nomination. Construction and project management, it is in the MLTSS list. You can see in the table that it is available for Canberra, not for Victoria. New South Wales, it's only available for 491. Queensland, yes. West Australia, yes. South Australia, yes. And NT and Tasmania, also it is available for the state nomination. Same is for all these occupations, supply and distribution manager, sports manager, HR manager. So if you're looking into, if you're looking as a supply and distribution manager, you have to see which state your occupation is available. If it is available for your state, whichever you are living into, are you meeting the requirements of the state? So first, before you start the process, you have to see whether your occupation is available into that respective state. If yes, then you have to proceed with the requirements of that state. If once you meet the requirements of the state, you are eligible to apply for the state nomination of those visas. State, sorry. So next we'll be discussing the the criterias for the state nomination for Victoria. So Victoria 190,491 criterias for the state has been now because we have entered into a new financial year. Still most of the states have not announced their requirements for the 190 and 491 state nomination. So I'll be discussing the requirements which were there for the last financial year. This will definitely change, but yes, we do not have any updates on those requirements. So for the last financial year, Victoria, if you are working into your nominated occupation or into the workforce skill pathway and you are utilizing your STEM skills, then you are eligible for 190 Victoria. And for 491, you should be working into some regional area and must be currently, your employer should be in some regional area of Victoria so that you are eligible for 491 Victoria. Next is New South Wales. So New South Wales 190. Right now we do not have any updates. These are the requirements for the last financial year. So for the last financial year, 190 requirement were that if you are for some occupation there were some requirements of 3 years of experience onshore or offshore in your nominated occupation. If like into IT there were some occupations which require 3 years of experience. If that is the case, you have to meet that requirement for the occupation. And most of the occupations did not have that caveat of 3 years of experience. So you can just proceed with the simple living or working requirements if you're living in New South Wales from the last 3 months, or you have worked into your nominated occupation in New South Wales, you are eligible to apply for 190 New South Wales. So there, for the 491 New South Wales, there were 3 different streams. Stream 1 was for people who are living and working in their nominated occupation from the last 12 months while living in New South Wales regional areas. If you meet this requirement, you are eligible for Stream 1 491. Stream 2 was for people who have studied for 2 years in some regional area. And Stream 3 was for people who have their skill assessments in their occupation and they are living even outside of Australia. Now coming to Canberra, Canberra has updated their SOL list for all the occupation for this new financial year. Most of the management occupations are available in their list. And to be eligible for 190 Canberra, you should be working and you should be living in Canberra. And you need to work at least a minimum of 6 months full time in in any occupation and should be meeting the ACT metrics point, which is 65 minimum points you should have in that. For the 491, you should be living and working in Canberra for minimum of 3 months in your occupation or in any occupation, and you should be meeting the metrics for Canberra to be eligible for 491 or 190 Canberra. Next, coming to West Australia. Now, West Australia has introduced 3 streams. First is the graduate stream, general stream schedule 1, general stream schedule 2. So now people who fall into the graduate stream for West Australia are those who have completed 2 years of study from West Australia, and they have worked 6 months of work experience in Australia, or have a 6 months of employment contract in West Australia in their nominated occupation. Stream Schedule 1, most of the health occupations would be there in Schedule 1. You should be living in Australia or in West Australia to be eligible for Stream Schedule 1, must have 1 year of onshore experience or 3 years of offshore experience in your nominated occupation, which should be undertaken in the last 10 years. And you should have a job offer in your nominated occupation for the next 12 months full time in West Australia with some employer there to be eligible for the occupations which are available for General Stream Schedule 1. And if your occupation is not available in Schedule 1 SOL list, then and if you're not living, even if you are not living in West Australia, you are eligible to apply for the General Stream Schedule 2. For that, you need a job offer for 12 months in full time in your nominated occupation from some employer in West Australia. So now, for this financial year, West Australia has prioritized. They have given 3 different priority levels for the people who would be applying for the state nomination. First, they would be giving priority to the people who are living and working in West Australia. Second, they would be considering the people who are living outside of West Australia, but they are living in Australia. And the third priority would be given to the offshore applicants. Now coming to Northern Territory. So now if you are a graduate of Northern Territory, you have to complete 2 years of studies. And once you have completed your 2 years of studies, you'll be applying for your TR visa, which is 485 visa. And if you live there for 6 months on that visa, from the date of completion of your studies, and show your genuine and sustained efforts to find a job in your field in Northern Territory, then in that case you will be eligible for 190 Northern Territory as a graduate of the state. And if you are not able to live for the next 6 months after completing your studies, in that case also you will be considered for 491 Northern Territory. That would be case by case basis. So now, if you're not a graduate from West Australia and you're living and working there in NT, then to apply for 190, you should have lived in NT for 2 years before applying for 190, and you should have worked in your nominated occupation for 2 years full time, and you should show a job offer for the next 12 months as well to be eligible for 190 Northern Territory. And for 491, you need to be living there for the last 12 months and working in your nominated occupation full time for 6 months and have a job offer for the next 12 months as well. So now coming to the Tasmanian state nomination, Tasmania has announced that they would be introducing some changes to their occupation list, but it has not still announced. So 190 visa, if you have studied as a graduate for 2 years in Tasmania, then you are eligible for 190. Or if you have worked 6 months full time in your nominated occupation with an employer who had been operating lawfully for the last 12 months in Canberra, Tasmania, you are eligible to apply for 190 Tasmania. For 491 visas, Tasmania, you need to have 1 year of study and 1 year of stay in Tasmania, or 6 months of full-time experience in any last 12 months. So next I'll be coming to Queensland. So Queensland, if you are looking for Queensland PR options, then for 190 visa, you need to work there for 6 months full time in your nominated occupation. Additional experience for some occupations is required, and a job offer letter for the next 12 months, which would be full time, is required to be eligible for 190 Queensland. Now, if you are a recent graduate, you have completed your 2 years of study from Queensland, any university or college in Queensland, After completing your studies, 2 years of studies, you need to demonstrate 3 months of full-time experience in your nominated occupation. Additional experience is required for some of the occupations. A job offer letter in regional area would be required to apply for 491 Queensland as a recent graduate of the state. So now the last and the biggest state, which is offering, many PR pathways to many of the occupation is South Australia. So if you have graduated from South Australia, you are a recent graduate, you have completed your bachelor's or higher qualification of 2 years, and you are currently working in your nominated occupation or closely related occupation for the last 3 months in South Australia, you are eligible for 491 South Australia. No work experience required for people who go through talent and innovation program. In that case, in the talent and innovator program, you should be either a PhD or a master's by research degree holder with proficient English. Either you have, or you should have completed a master's by coursework, and you have proficient English with a GPA of 6 or higher in bachelor's and proficient overall. You will be eligible for 491 South Australia under the Talent and Innovators program. So now 491, if you're currently working in your nominated, all the in South Australia, all the occupations have different work requirements to work there in their nominated occupation. And if you're currently working in your nominated or closely related occupation for the last 6 months in South Australia, which is also available through Talent and Innovator program, there are some waivers available for people who are living in outer regional South Australia. If you are someone who are living into the outer regional South Australia, have lived for 12 months and worked in any occupation minimum 20 hours per week, you can be eligible for 491 under the outer regional South Australia stream. So talent and innovator programs provide opportunities and pathways for highly skilled migrants who can contribute to the critical priority sectors for South Australia growth. So the talent and innovator programs allow the state to nominate applicants under one of the following 4 streams, which can be employment stream, startup and small business stream, high performance graduate stream, and independent talent streams. So these are the PR pathways for different occupations in different states. So now I'll be discussing the employer-sponsored visas. First is the 482 visa, which is temporary skill shortage visa. This visa would be granted to you depending upon which list your occupation fall, whether it's a short-term list or a medium or long-term list. This visa would be granted to you for 2 to 4 years. But the prerequisites to apply for this visa are that you should have 2 years of full-time experience in your nominated occupation. You should have an employer who is ready to sponsor you. Okay, and the employer have to show that they are genuinely employing you for that occupation, position in their organization. It's not a created one. They have tried to find out they have tried a lot to find any Australian PR or citizens who should be employed into that position, but they were not able to find any person with those skill sets. So for that, they have to do advertisement, which is called labor marking testing. Once that is done, that is a very important part of this temporary skill shortage visa, LMT. Once that LMT has been done, the employer has to show that they will be genuinely paying according to the market salary rate. So the employer has to show that they would be paying according to the market salary rate to the employee, and that position has not been created. It's a very genuine position, and that they have tried to find an Australian PR or citizen to be employed for that position in their organization, but they were not successful in finding someone. That's why they're sponsoring you for that occupation. So now the other one is the 186 direct entry. Applicants must have 3 years of full-time experience to be eligible for the 186 visa. which is called direct entry. Working 3 years full time on a 482 visa with same employer can you'll be eligible for 186 TRT stream also. Here also you need an employer who would be doing the same process of LMT, of paying you according to the market salary rate. If you have 3 years of experience and you have an employer who's ready to sponsor you in your nominated occupation, then this can be a very good option because it would be a direct PR and you'll be a PR once it is granted to you. Next, we'll be discussing the skilled employer sponsored regional provisional 494 visa. It's this visa is also not a permanent visa. It would be a temporary visa. It will be granted to you for 5 years. It is you need for this to be eligible for this visa. You need 3 years of full time experience undertaken in the last 5 years. And once you have worked for 3 years full time on a 494 visa with the same employer, you'll be eligible for 191 visa, which will be a PR. Skill assessment is mandatory in your nominated occupation to apply for 494 visa. So I'll now this was about the PR pathway for different occupations through GSM visas and employer sponsored visas. Now, one thing I would like to say is that if you are not getting a job as a manager, uh, please don't panic. That experience, whatever you are getting, if you are having roles somewhat according to the manager, just develop that experience for 1.5 year. Ultimately you'll be you can ask your employer to place you into a managerial position, which will definitely help you out to find your PR pathway through that experience. Either you'll be eligible for 190, 491 or 189, or you can apply for the employer sponsored visas like 482, 494 or 186 visas. So definitely you should find and start working into the nominated occupation so that you can apply for the PR pathways. So this was all about the management occupations and different their PR pathways through GSM and employer sponsored visas. If you have any questions, please feel you can just drop the message on the chat box, or you can just call me on my given email ID or my mobile number. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining.
So I think
We have few questions, Neha, if you want to answer.
this is, I think, Zeel Shah. She has asked Rohan. General. Okay. So so Rohan has asked that he was not able to travel to Australia to complete his 6th semester due to pandemic. So I had to wait for 1 year to complete my last semester, which I still had to complete externally due to travel restrictions. Now I am in the process of applying for graduate work visa. So for graduate work visa, do I have to get my skills assessed? So the thing is, Rohan, if you have completed your studies and you are in the process to apply for your 485 visa, right now, I don't have an idea what courses you have studied. If it's a bachelor's or master's, you do not need any skill assessment for the 485 visa. And if it's a trade course, wet sector, then that requirement to nominate an occupation or the provisional skill assessment has temporarily been removed to apply for the 48 visa. So you do not need any as skill assessment to apply for the 485 visa. So just hold for a minute. I'm going through all the document. So for the management consultant, this is Nikhil Dugar. He has asked, what is the last cutoff for the management consultant? So management consultant is like for the 189, they have been, not 189, 190, they have been invited for 90 to 95 points. So, so I'll go through all these questions. COVID 485, COVID affected travel extension details. So I don't know the name of the guest. So certain COVID 485 COVID affected travel extensions has been introduced by the department, which will be available from 1st of July 2022. So if you have been impacted by COVID, and you were holding a visa 485 and you could not travel to Australia during the time period from 1st of February 2020 till 14th of December 2021, and your visa, you are holding a 485 visa or your visa expired on or after 1st of February 2020, then you can apply for the replacement 485 visa, which is available from 1st of July. It will be given to you for the same time period as was your original 485 visa. You can include your family members who were not actually included in your 485 visa previously. Would you, I think I have answered most of the questions. This is Vishal. He has given, I have completed my bachelor's from India program, BBA in banking and finance. I'm looking for Masters of Business Analytics in Griffith University, Brisbane. Is it good university? How are the job perspectives? So Varinder, I think you should answer this question for Vishal. He's looking for Masters in Business Analytics in Griffith University. The last one.
Yes, I will. Yes, Vishal, it is a good university, and the job prospectus after completion of the course from the Griffith University, it's very good. You can work as a business analyst after completion of your course, and the salary range will be in between $90,000 to I can say $110,000 according to the job outlook. And in this course, university will provide you around 16 subjects. So most of the subjects will be related to business, and you will study few IT related courses as well. So after completion of the course, you can work as a business analyst, and you can work as a business manager as well. And Griffith University is also providing scholarship, which also depends on your GPA. So it depends on your bachelor's GPA. You can get up to 30% scholarship, and it also depends on your band score as well. And then there is one more question from Nikhil, recently graduated from Australia University.
Trade finance and currently working.
Skill assessment. This is for skill assessment.
Restructuring construction. Sorry, just for a minute. In Big Four, what is the perspective for management consultant skill assessment? So, Nikhil, how long you had been working there with Big Four you? 8 months. Okay. And are you performing the roles and responsibilities of a management consultant? The reconstructing consultant. So I have to look into the business reconstructing consultant. Yes. So once you complete your bachelor's is BCom and international trades and finance, so it's not highly relevant. I have to look into your roles and responsibilities also. So if it is relevant to your occupation, then yes, you need to complete your 12 months, and then we can apply for the vet assess to get you skill assessment as a management consultant or as a business consultant also. But if not, then you have to go for 2 years of post qualification experience to get your skills assessed. Now Rohan is asking that he needs international health cover to apply for the graduate work visa. So international health cover means for the 485 visa, you need overseas visitor health cover to apply for that. Yes, you need an overseas visitor health cover, Rohan.
Vishal, I'm mentioning my phone number. You can contact me for the admission purposes and I will explain you the eligibility criteria or everything in detail. So I'm leaving my contact details here so you can contact me and I will help you out.
Yes, got this 485 COVID affected temporary travel extension details, please. So I think there is no travel restrictions now, so you can travel. I'm not able to understand your question. What do you want to ask? How, you want to apply for the replacement 485 visa or what? So do we need skill assessment for restaurant managers in West Australia? Um, Amandeep. So Amandeep, yes, if you are a recent graduate also from West Australia, you completed your 2 years of studies from West Australia, you still need skill assessment to apply for the 190 or 491 state nomination to apply for West Australia as well. So I think, Brinda, we should back up.
Yes.
So um, for all of the other queries, you can just contact me on 0406 858371. This is my number. For any other PR related inquiries, you can just call me on this number. Okay, you can just email me on my email ID. We'll call you back.
Yes, so thank you everyone for joining and making this session very, I can say, interactive. Thank you.
Thank you all. Okay. Thank you, Varinder.